Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune, the Steve and Adam Show. Hey, I'm Steve.
Hey, I'm Adam. Wait, we got that wrong somehow.
Oh, wait, I'm Adam. That's
Yeah,
not Steve.
that's not Steve. No, hi, I'm Ben. I work with Steve. Steve's currently sleeping in my office, and he wanted me to sort of help out a little bit with this. So here I am. He's currently being the producer of this episode.
Yes, so let's. I'll take a moment to introduce Ben. So Ben is this is Ben Reeder. He works with Steven, and they together create this amazing dynamic duo of automation for Intune. And so Ben is on Twitter. He's powers_hell. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, and I have all the other social medias, GitHub, and all that sort of stuff. We'll put them up somewhere, I'm sure.
Yep. I'll put them in the video description. So we're bringing Ben in. We've been trying to make this happen for a little bit, and Ben has got some just amazing coding background, and we're gonna start trying to do some more videos around. Okay, so now we've shown you how to do it in the GUI, but let's talk about how to do it practically from an automation perspective. And so that's kind of how we're starting. And so today we're going to be kind of revisiting a topic that we've already covered a little bit of, running PowerShell scripts from the Intune portal. And so I'm going to turn it over to Ben and let him kind of walk us through this.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as you said, a couple of weeks ago, you guys put up a post on just deploying PowerShell through Intune, and you know the many myriad of benefits that you get from doing that. Which, I mean, to summarize, if it's not currently available in the GUI in Intune natively, and you know that you want to do it, you can do it through PowerShell, which is fantastic. But I watched the blog; it was fantastic. And I just noticed that there was a bunch of things I really wanted to I wanted to be there while you were doing it, because there's so much that I do on this on a daily basis that I just wanted to jump in and help out. So what we're going to do, we're really going to just really quickly rehash the basics of deploying a script through Intune. But what I want to talk about specifically is why you guys should be logging in your code, specifically around Intune, because if you're doing complex scripts, Intune doesn't natively have any logging for those scripts. And I just want to show you right now why we should be doing that. Okay, so I'm going to create a script that's intentionally going to fail. I probably should say that it should be perfect and then let it fail, keep in line with the Intune training ethos. But we're going to say openly that this is going to fail. I'm not throwing any shade on you guys. You're fantastic. Okay.
Speaking the truth in love, that's fine.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna set up a couple of variables. This is not going to be a complex script. So we'll just do a region block config client
While he's
name.
typing that, I think in our previous video, the code was new item, and we created a new folder off the root of the C drive. Basic, but at the end of that video, you can see where we ran into an issue where we mistakenly thought that we could rerun the script if we wanted to, and we discovered that we couldn't. And so hopefully at the end of this, we can maybe talk a little bit about the ways that we can rerun scripts as well. So now what we'll find here, and I believe this is the truth here, is that if the script fails, then it will attempt to rerun natively, but Intune will at least know about the failure and allow that script to continue to retry until it succeeds. But once it succeeds, it doesn't rerun.
It never is. That's correct.
Something else on the back end. So we don't have to go down that trail yet, but just buying you some airtime while you type there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll be a good subject matter for another talk. The other thing to note as well, I'm going to stop typing while I'm talking about this, is that if the script fails, it will attempt 3 more times. Natively, that is a hard limit. If you get really geeky, you can change that. But by default, it will only try 3 times. So if your script fails 3 times, it's never going to try again. The idea here is that if it's bad, you need to catch on and fix it. And there are a couple of ways that you can force it to rerun. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Excellent.
Okay, so we're going to create a folder. Path will be C drive program data client name. So we're going to create a folder in C drive program data called Intune training, and we're just going to dump a text file in there, which is a very boring but very important example. Okay, getting close. New item. Path is example path.
It's amazing watching someone who actually knows how to write code, write it. I can produce the same stuff, but not with the same efficiency.
It's all VS Code.
That's right. Yeah, but you know how to use it.
So all we're doing here is we're just going, if this folder doesn't exist, let's create it. I'm putting this in my logging. I've got a very big question mark here because we're not actually doing any logging. But you know, I'm used to doing it the same way. You're just going to rely on that. Okay. Going to put this in a try catch statement, and we can talk a little bit more around why you should be used. It should. It's autocomplete's not going to work. That's fine. Okay. So what we're going to do in our try statement, a text file is going to be called this should be here.txt, and we're going to go new item item path will be example path txt file. Item type is file false, and we're going to pipe that out. Any of that. I'm then going to go, okay, so what this is doing is it's creating this file. I'm then going to do some logic to validate whether that file exists. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff it up so that it intentionally fails. So if test path, let's go example. And I'm doing the opposite of that. So if this doesn't exist, we're going to throw file doesn't exist. You cooked it. Do a couple of other things here. Silently continue. Else return true. Throw statement is going to essentially bomb out of the script, but because we were in a try catch statement, it's just going to handle that. So we're ruthless about it as well. So we're also going to throw from here. And we're gonna go.
Now, the way I understand that a throw works is essentially you are inside a block and to the next, to whatever it's nested inside of. So if you've got a function and you throw from the function, it throws it to the calling process. So if you had a section and you call the function, then you could catch the function all, like you could throw them all out and have all your logging.
That's correct, and you can have quite deep. You can have a try catch inside a try catch, and it's basically the catch is only going to, or the thing that's thrown to it, or that's errored out in its nest. So yeah, you can get very complex, and it on its own is something that we can talk about, but maybe a little more advanced than we need to get into. But okay, so we're going to go Okay. So what this should, in theory, do is it's going to create this this file, and then we're going to do a test path against that. Let's actually do it this way. This some file.txt. All right. So what we're looking for is this should be here.txt. However, we're going to create a file called somefile.txt. So the naming will fail, and this is going to bomb out. So, and we're going to go to our Intune portal. Going to go into device configuration, PowerShell scripts, and we already have one from the last time you guys call this failing example. Script location.
Now, if this was me, I would be testing it inside of code or what, before I spent the effort of uploading it into make a code change and then load it into Intune. But I get what was just hurry up and get to the failures so we can then go from there. But
we can definitely run it. Let's all right. Okay, so that's failed. So the file doesn't exist. You cooked it. Has been thrown to the catch statement, which has also thrown it. So it's sort of a double negative, but we can see that the error has happened. And if I quickly go to program data Intune training, so you can see the folder's been created and that text file somefile.txt is there. So this script has done what we want, and our test has failed on purpose. So let's deploy it to your virtual machine that you've definitely got spun up.
Yes.
Yes, excellent. All right, let me just find this. Training example. We are going to run it as system. That's fine. I'm going to run it in 64-bit. I strongly recommend, unless you absolutely need to, this should always be set to yes. Because what 64-bit machine should be running on Intune. All right, let's go select groups.
Oh, you have been watching our videos. Good job.
Yes. What security group should we deploy this to?
We've got one. The Intune baseline.
That's devices. I believe.
Right.
License? All right. We'll deploy to license because...
Oh, that's users. Yeah.
Cool. I actually had an interesting discussion where someone was recommending that it should be deployed to devices the other day. I don't necessarily... Yes. Okay, so we're going to add that. And now, if possible, I'll get you to take over and we'll have a look at your virtual machine and we'll see what's going on.
So here we go. Let's see if this works. So we're going to open up the company, I assume, and we're going to sync it.
Yep.
Is it the tram going by?
It is, yes. Sorry.
Nice.
We're in Melbourne. It gets noisy.
Well, now I'm at the Microsoft Store. That's neat. Well, and as is the case, we're probably going to run into some technical difficulties. So this is a 1909 VM that I just spun up, and seems to be confused as to whether or not the company portal's installed. There we go.
So there are a couple of ways that this process up. The most default way is going to the company portal and forcing it to sync. The other way is to actually open up the services and restart the management service, which is a highly, only for the IT pros watching. So it's just search on Microsoft
Oh, Microsoft Intune management.
Intune
All right.
management. Yeah. So we just either stop, start, or restart. Same process. This is essentially mimicking rebooting your computer or logging off and logging back on. So if we can just go to the Explorer and go into program data, yeah, and we'll just wait and see if that Intune.training folder gets created.
And I was going to go to the, because I don't know how to navigate this stuff.
Totally.
The, come on, little machine. You can do it. I think it's this one. And then this one. All the way here. And then we can do a sync here as well. So this at least tells us our last successful was
Excellent.
a bit ago. So probably just give that a shot. That we've done this in the company portal, and we've seen that when you sync in the company portal, it doesn't set in there. So you could sync it here, but it generally doesn't show you the that it's done. And so I like doing it here just because you can see that it's working. So let's see. Hey, look, it has already run. There we go.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so we can see that some files there, and if we were to wait long enough, and long enough is 15 to 20 minutes, that error notice would come back up to the portal, and we could see that it has failed. What the process of attempting to reattempt is every hour, unless every time the device polls, it will attempt to run this again another 2 times. After the 3rd time, it will just go, I don't know, continues to fail, and it will give up. That is where you as an IT professional needs to go in and try and figure out why the script that you've deployed to the client devices isn't working. But that's kind of all you get. There is some sort of deep diving that you can go into the registry to see it's failed. There's a couple of event logs that you can look to that basically show you that the script has failed, but it doesn't tell you why the script has failed. So that gets me to the meat of sort of why if you're deploying complex or custom PowerShell scripts via Intune, you need to make sure that you're writing scripts that log exactly what's happening so that you can troubleshoot and so that your support team can identify exactly what's gone wrong. So in this scenario, we know what's gone wrong, but because there's no logging, we just need to know it because we wrote it. So if we go back and we to just put in some very basic logging, I can show you sort of how I do it on a day-to-day basis. So I'll take. All right. So here we have our magical script that we looked at before. Now in our logging, I'm going to add. Sorry, I'm just going to get rid of the thing here. Thank you, Stephen. Our producer is amazing. All right, so I'm going to add a couple of things in. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just going to create a variable called log file that is going to be the name of app name.log. Could be, it doesn't matter, but for the inner SCCM know to keep things correct. All right, so underneath here, what I'm going to do is say start transcript. Start transcript. What this is going to do is as soon as this runs, all output of the PowerShell script or the PowerShell process is going to be output to the log file. The benefit here is that you don't need to write. This will just output everything. So you don't need to overthink this. Okay, so we're just going to force that to start running. What I'm going to do at the end here is I'm just going to put in, so we've got our try and catch statement, I'm going to put in a finally block. What this essentially means is that no matter what happens at the end of the process, we're going to finally wrap things up. And I'm actually going to put this into.
And so just for educational purpose here, the try catch, basically tries your catch is we want to catch an exception and not proceed past that. But then after the catch does what it's going to do, if you have a failure, the finally lets you take action or process outside of that main loop. Is that accurate?
That's correct. So the finally is sort of like I'll use it in a way that I'm cleaning up my environment before I finish the script. So regardless of the output of or the success of my script, I want to handle that myself because I want full control over exactly what happens. So in this scenario, what we're doing is we're throwing that error into our catch statement. Instead of bomb immediately, we're getting the error, we're storing it in an error variable, and then dependently have a populated error variable. We're going to then do some things. So in our finally statement, we're just saying if there is an error variable or if there's content in that, we're going to write host something went wrong. We're going to stop transcript. It would be good if my autocomplete finished, but it's not going to, so I'll just do it myself. Stop transcript, and then we're going to finally throw. And the only reason I'm throwing is because what that does is it exits the script so that so it reports back to Intune that there was a failure. It would exit with a 0, and that will essentially tell Intune that it finished the way it was supposed to. So we still want to actually bomb out. And finally, we're going to go if otherwise or else. We're going to say write host everything is good, and we're going to start. Oh, there it is. There. So I'm going to go back into here. Now let's actually just quickly see if we've got that reporting on that. No, it hasn't come up yet. I'm sure if I refreshed, oh no, here it is. So weirdly, it's come up under device status. And if we were to have the time, we could actually watch this last updated keep coming through, and it would do it 3 times. But we're just going to delete this script. We're going to redeploy it, and we're going to see the output that we're now expecting.
Then what's the significance of doing the delete versus just edit the script?
So the scenario that I was talking about, where a script will only run 3 times, if you edit it and it's already run 3 times, it's not going to reattempt. And when you create a new script policy, what it's actually doing is it's also creating a completely new and unique entry in Intune, which, again, I'm kind of hoping that we have another conversation around that, but it creates its unique entry with a unique GUID that we can then track and monitor in the registry, which is quite deep and nerdy, but we can sort of get into control and force a rerun if it's failed 3 times. So I'd like to delete and start again, essentially. If I know for a fact that the code has failed, let's just get rid of it and let's start again.
Good to know.
Cool. So we're going to do failing script 2. While I'm doing this, can you please delete that intune.training folder?
Yes, I certainly can. Done and done.
Excellent. All right, so same deal here. We're not changing anything at all. I've changed the name of it just so that we know, but we're going to make sure that the script runs and we're going to force it to run in 64-bit. Select groups.
Now here's a good one for you. So, well, yeah, go ahead and do all that. So you could do all this remotely to this machine as well. You could kick off at least do the sync from the portal here, right?
Yep, 100%. We can do that as well. Let's give that a go. All right.
So I guess the reason I'm so for years I have preached the idea that from your desk to work on a client's machine, you're doing it wrong. Because you should be able to do everything remotely from your desk. And even the idea that so many people feel like, oh, I've got to log into the user's machine to do the thing. You got to stop thinking like that. So being able to do it remotely, and then being able to watch the status, or you could have a remote connection to the hard drive and watch, or into the event logs. Everything you can do from sitting in front of the machine, you could do remotely. And I like that functionality. I like being from this portal. So that's going to be the second one there.
The second one? Okay, great.
Yeah. And so anyway, I think that's if we're talking about automation, the whole beauty of automation is you don't have to manually do things. And for the sake of the demo, we're logging in to see it easier. But when you're doing this practically in your environment, you have many ways as possible to not have to physically log in or physically visit a machine to be able to.
Yeah, that's a really good point. All right, so I'm going to force a sync from the portal. And I mean, I think we've just shown in this session alone that there's about 5 different ways that you can force a sync on a device, which is which is really good. So the nerd in me likes killing the service. The user front end is fantastic for people to self-serve their own device, and then obviously from here we can do it as well, which is great.
And I suspect there's even some cool PowerShell-y things you could do.
Yes, there is. Yeah, so you can hit this sync from Graph basically, which what that means is that you can scale this out. So if you have all your devices in specific groups, and you're deploying a script and you need it done immediately, you can hit Graph, force a sync of as many devices as you want, and then just sit and wait and watch them catch on fire because your code. So yeah, it's completely scalable and programmatic. All right, so we'll just switch over to your machine if we can.
It should be coming through.
Thank you.
And let's see what we get here. See if it's showing sync. It has synced, and don't have a folder yet.
We'll give it a second. I've found in these scenarios, if you're rapidly developing solutions and you're testing them, that the quickest way to force a repol or a resync is to drop the service. But again, I only recommend it while you're developing your solutions. It should not be the scenario where you go up to your end user's machine and you get into the services. It's shouldn't be your relied upon solution.
I agree. So where was the path that you put the log? Was it in the same place?
C drive, program data, yeah, Intune training. It's the exact same solution.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I'll just give this a second.
Yeah, and from coming from a config manager environment and things, I feel like this is the back end black boxness of all of this is the piece that is probably the biggest learning curve / maybe even roadblock for adoption of just it's too hard the impression, I think, is that it's too hard or it's impossible to see behind the scenes enough to replace what we do today with Intune. I don't think that that's necessarily completely true, but I think they've moved the cheese, and we have to figure out where the cheese is now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that was one of the primary reasons why I started developing my own method of logging all of these scripts that we were doing. Again, as you said, there was this black box mentality where I was just supposed to accept that it failed and not know anything else. But in the same scenario was true in SCCM, where if you're doing remediation scripts, for example, it's only going to tell you whether it passed or failed. It's not going to tell you why it failed. So it's a mindset that you need to understand that if you're writing custom code, you need to rely on your side that logging.
Yes, definitely. And I was, while you were writing the log there, I was double checking in here to see if this had logged anything to these locations. So I don't know if you don't know, this is just in the default in the event viewer. PowerShell stuff gets logged here, and you talk about data security and things like that, and make sure you don't embed things into your this is part of that reason why, because things get logged here. So here yes, it worked. I was hoping we'd see. So
Yeah, cool.
I can see that the script that got copied down actually, and that's.
Oh, and actually, go to that the event that you were just showing that showed the script ran. I just want.
Yeah, where did it go? I don't know what happened to it. But you can see where it's. Yeah, look, see, it's doing. I'm pointing at the screen, like you can see me pointing at it. It's doing the. You can see where it's all the different commands that it's writing for
that's
the transcripts, and which is now I turned on advanced stuff and turned on the analytic and debug logs here to be able to see this stuff. But let me start from the top and go back down. Then it seemed the faster way to get here. There it is.
There it is. Okay, so I just want everyone to pay attention to the name of the script that is run, and we'll go back to that in a second. But yeah, as you can see, if you've got those analytics, it's really in depth. All right, so the script is run. My log file hasn't been created.
Maybe you should put some logging around the logging.
Yeah, maybe I should. I know why I didn't. It'll probably be in
because you're on Intune.training. That's why.
No, I didn't create the example path. All right.
Oh, we were doing so well.
We were. I had to bomb out log file. Example. Sorry, I'm going to rapidly change this and redeploy it. This won't take long. I love a bit of dead air too.
While you're doing now, this debug logging stuff is really great. So if you're still working in Config Manager, if you've messed with CM Pivot or the run scripts option in the console, I found this to be for debugging those things. So if specifically, Ben, you mentioned a minute ago about remediation scripts for configuration baselines and things like that. So if you're running those, if you don't have logging, you can also come in to the logs here and at least see that your script ran, and you can typically see a lot of the content that gets exported from those as well. So it's a great little spot to.
Yeah. Okay, so I've just made the change to that logging. I've redeployed it out.
Okay.
So we'll just, if you can force the sync on your machine.
Go.
Excellent, thank you. And if you can also delete that. Actually, no, let's not delete that folder. Right. Oh, sweet, excellent. That's all good.
And so I think from my perspective, this is putting the puzzle pieces together, finding the breadcrumbs, finding how do we track the pieces. And so we know that we can come here and we can sync, and we know that we can look in the portal and we can see the errors. We know that we can look at the client and we can see if the scripts ran or not. And so now I can work my way down the path to getting to the result of saying, okay, so did my folder get created? Well, no, it didn't.
That's correct.
So I think it's nice to follow that trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
No, we just wait.
We got hold music.
Maybe Steven can hum for us or something. He's over here nodding.
He's a consummate professional. He's sitting quietly and being patient.
Yeah, the best on our video feed. It's not... Watch out, Steven. I'm putting you on camera now. Oh, and he straightened up.
This is not the first time he's done this.
Aha, there we go. Folder. Look at that. Woo!
Fantastic. Didn't fail. All right. So what I wanted to really go into, and the primary reason of this is that the power of doing start transcript. It's 2 lines of code: start transcript and stop transcript at the tail end, at the top and tail of your code, gives you all of this information and this level of depth. So if your first and second level support guys are saying that a script has failed, get them to give you that log, and you can tell everything about the script that's run. So if we start from the start, we can see a timestamp. Underneath that, we can see the user shows immediately that the script was run as system. That's very important, because the amount of times that I've written a script, deployed it as user accidentally, that it needs to be a system and it's failed, or vice versa, having start transcript really helps narrow down exactly what context it was run in, so that I can find out what I've done wrong. The other line there that's really, really important that Adam was showing is, so what this is actually showing is the command that was run to trigger the script. And again, if we go back to, if we remember looking at in the event log, that will marry up.
Or it would have with the previous.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
If I get it to reloading the logs for me here. Oh, there we go. They are in reverse order. That's neat. Why would you do that? That explains why they weren't showing up. No, it doesn't want to sort them in reverse. Don't know why. Anyway, you guys saw it. It was a thing. We saw it there. Let's go check it out. See if there's anything there. What? There's nothing here. I can't just go reline manually? Are you sure?
Exactly. Yeah, no.
Hidden item was turned on, everything.
Script doesn't stay. So when it's triggered, it downloads the content, it runs it, and it immediately kills it and deletes it from your machine.
Yes, referencing back config manager. Same thing with CM pivot, same thing with run scripts, same concept. It has a temporary location, copies the files down, it has it hashed, it dumps it there, and runs it, and then deletes it and clears it off. So same kind of deal. I like it.
That's it. So basically the takeaway that I hope that everyone gets from this is that if you aren't currently doing start transcript with your PowerShell scripts that you're deploying to your client machines, doing it now, because there's very little overhead, and the level of diagnostic data that you get back is absolutely fantastic and very deep, and will help you get out of a sticky situation every time.
Now, without getting too deep into it, I have used this transcript many times, and I found that, I guess the best way to describe it is, if you are debugging when you're looking at it in the console as it's outputting, if you don't see it in the output in your console when you debug it, it's also not going to show in the output in your transcript. So the transcript is only logging things that would normally display into the console if you were sitting there writing the command, the script manually. Is that sound accurate?
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So you can see, obviously, when we ran it on our machine, the big wall of red saying that something failed, but that doesn't actually get technically output to the console, so that doesn't show up here. Because we handled the error that happened, and we actually sent it through in a programmatic way, we output that in a throw statement, and we got that error. But it's only going to handle, like write output or write host or things like that. Spit out the output of a variable, you would call that variable and things like that. So you just need to write your code in a debug kind of way, so that anything that you actually want to see to put that into your code.
Yeah, and I like that. And so for me recently, I was here. I'll see if I can. I'm not going to write nearly as fast and fancy as you, but so I wrote a function that's a debug version of you've got a debug variable, and so it's just function log and almost. It's not VS Code, so it's not going to autocomplete. And then so if I had a param of debug, and if I set that to true, that doesn't, yeah, that works. And then you just do if debug and actually you would end up the param as well.
Yeah.
And so then in your function, you would call it later on. Yeah. Too many. I'm used to VS Code now. I can't even write in this.
Yeah, it's making me lazy too.
Gross. And so then I would just do a log low, and if I run that, I've got debug set to true, and it output hello. But if I've got debug set to false, it won't output it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's the same kind of deal. And so then looking at this, you could shorten all your write hosts just to a log function like this, but only make it work if debug is on or off, and you don't have to wrap each individual write host in a if because this would be the longhand way of normally doing it, where you'd only want to output that text whenever. And yeah, anyway, I think you get the idea.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'm very much enjoying this.
Excellent. Well, Ben, thank you for being on. Do you have anything else? I don't want to cut you off.
No, look, I think like I've got a million things that we could talk about, but it's a good starting sort of thing here, just around why it's important that you log. As I said, I'll keep saying it to understand that if you're doing custom PowerShell, you're in charge of logging. If you don't do it, you won't know, and you won't know why it failed. It's that simple, and it's not hard to implement this stuff. So I really think we need to start leveling up our script being taken seriously when we're doing this sort of stuff.
And one really good tip is go cheat. Go steal people's code from go to GitHub, go to anybody's blogs, go take code that other people did and use that as a starting point. If you don't know how to do it, go find great examples. You don't necessarily even have to go, post on a forum and wait for somebody to give you an answer. Go dig around. If you see if you get someone's code and there's a function or a thing that's happening in there that doesn't take the function name and go and search for it in GitHub or Google Bing whatever, and go look. Yeah, whatever. They're not sponsored. That's one of the things I do. Like if I've got a DLL that's referenced in a thing and I'm trying to figure out the syntax, I will go search for that DLL in GitHub and get it and how someone else is using it and how somebody else is interacting with it. And God, I'm really trying to keep a straight face. Way to go, Stephen. You're doing.
He's being the consumer professional producer.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so don't kill yourself trying to do this. There is a ton of resource out there, and you can just take someone else's code and custom your own. The idea here is that if you think about what we're doing in automating things, the reason why we're writing code so that we can do things faster and more efficiently and in a more repeatable fashion. If that's really the case, then automate your automation creation process. Go to start,
exactly.
Don't write it from scratch.
Don't
get there
reinvent
as
the
quickly
wheel
as possible. No one's going to judge you on how you got there. Just get there as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible. That's at least my kind of philosophy.
No, I mean,
completely don't
agree.
really steal stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you, Ben. This was very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to more of these sessions. Hopefully, we can get our schedules all synced up to be able to work some more of these in. And we're gonna start just kind of diving in deeper on all of this Intune stuff. And so glad to have you as part of the team.
Thanks for having me.
And bye, Stephen.
Bye, Stephen.
All right. So yeah, the Twittery thing. I'm at AdamGrossTX on social media, and you got Ben.
Is it powers_hell? That's my Twitter. Yep.
Yep. And we'll have all the other bits and pieces in the description of the video. So thanks for joining us, and be sure to subscribe. We're releasing a video roughly every Monday night, Tuesday-ish, depending on what time zone you're in. We're shooting for it anyway. Sometimes I forget. So anyway, thank you guys for your support, and come back and see us.